Bahrain is proud to be one of the first countries in the region to respond to the initiative launched by the United Nations Environment Programme, calling for embracing the ecosystem-based approach on the national and regional levels. In addition, Bahrain is also the first country in the GCC region to have established its clearinghouse mechanism. The kingdom is committed to fulfill the international obligation as a party of the Convention on Biological Diversity. Moreover, it is committed towards the conservation and sustainable utilization of its biodiversity for its citizens and future generations. The Supreme Council for the Environment seeks to preserve the wildlife and marine environment in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Its efforts have succeeded in allocating 6 areas as diverse natural sanctuaries. They include 5 marine protected areas, namely the Hawat Islands, covering 51.4 kilometers squared, the Tubli Bay, covering 13.5 kilometers squared, Arad Bay, covering 0.5 kilometers squared, Mashtan Island, covering 2.5 kilometers squared, and Her Butham, covering 7.8 kilometers squared, in addition to Al Arin, which is the only wildlife reserve and covers 5.4 kilometers squared. Bahrain hosts around 1,455 species of desert plants, palm trees, and algae. Still, it is believed that this number might increase since many taxa are yet to be identified. With the rapid development that the kingdom is witnessing and beautiful desert habitat, and the many threatened flora and fauna species within, as a result, it established Al Arin Wildlife Unique Reserve in 1976 for the protection of those endangered species and conservation of natural desert habitat, including 82 types of birds, mainly bustard and falcons, as well as 45 species of mammals, mainly Arabian oryx and Arab sand gazelle, in addition to provide a refuge for endangered species. The establishment of protected areas and their effective management has long been a cornerstone of biodiversity conservation efforts exerted by the Kingdom of Bahrain, which has a big potential to integrate biodiversity conservation into all national policies and strategies, such as the Economic Vision 2030, Agriculture Affairs Strategy, and Government Action Plan.
Al Arin is one of our protected areas, so it has 2 parts. Part that is a wildlife protected areas for the size of 8 kilometers square, and the other one that showcase the different species. What we're trying to do is to increase the awareness about how to protect certain species, especially the local species. Al-Maha, Al-Nimr al-Arabi, all the species, Al-Falcons, are protected by law in Bahrain. It's not only about that, we need to regulate how we are trading with the certain species. This species should be protected by the locals, governments. So the migrations of this species are under international law, either by CITES and to protect this kind of animals. That's why we developed an online application for CITES now. So if you're going to import any kind of species, it has to go through process to make sure that it was not smuggled from its original country. And the falcons, we worked also in developing, after the CITES certificate, to develop a passport to make sure that this species is not smuggled from the wildlife.
Al Ain Wildlife established in 1976. There is two programs in Al Ain Wildlife. We call them in situ and ex situ. We means by ex situ is to maintain and breed the animals in captivity. Al Ain actually play a major role in breeding these kinds of animals, or even rearing or a propagation of some plants. So they are keeping them in captivity, and this is part of their job. The other one is the ex situ, which is the reserve part of Al Ain Wildlife. So after breeding the animals in captivity, they are releasing them to the natural habitats, either in Hawar Islands or in the south part of Bahrain. And that's actually could be figured in some antelopes or gazelles. They are releasing them to the wild itself. Al Ain Wildlife Park and Reserve play a major role in public awareness. Actually, there are many schools going there, and they are educated about these animals and how to take care of them and how to actually deal with these animals and how to protect them. So in public awareness, educations, all of these actually is part of the Al Ain Wildlife job. Also, the researchers could find a good infrastructure for their study, their research, and actually maybe from that research we can end up of how to protect, if reports, how to protect these animals. This is actually just a summary of what Al Ain Wildlife rule in Bahrain here. Although Bahrain is a small island with very harsh environment, where the temperature reaches 45 degrees in summer, although of that, Bahrain is very rich in biodiversity in terms of ecosystems, species, or even in genetic level. In ecosystem levels, we have 6 protected areas. One of them is terrestrial, which is Al Ain Wildlife Reserve and Park, and other 5 marine protected area, Hawar Islands, Mashtan, Tubli Bay, Arad Bay, and the northern Herat. So all of these protected area actually are one of the major component in biodiversity in Bahrain. Added to that, we have a lot of sensitive area like the seagrass meadows, we have algal habitats, we have one of the best pearls oysters in the world, actually located in the northern Herat. So all of these habitats considered as components of the biodiversity. This is in ecosystem level. We have also in species levels. Bahrain have the largest colony in the world for Socotra cormorants in Hawar Islands. We have also the second largest herd of dugong after the Australian ones, which is located here in the territorial water of Bahrain. Bahrain have, as I said, also the oysters, which is one of the animals which produce best pearls in the world. And as I said, it is in the northern Herat and also in the in the Fasht al-Azam and al-Jarim and all of the territorial waters of Bahrain. So this is in species. In total, we have more than 1,360 or more of different group of animal and plants in Bahrain, although that we are very small islands. Preserving the biodiversity is very important because the biodiversity means protecting the natural habitats, and that reflects on the human health. So if you're protecting the natural habitat and protecting the species, you are protecting the environment itself, and you are actually keeping the environment in balance. So no component actually overcome for, the other components. Protecting the biodiversity will provide clean airs, will provide economic value for peoples, and actually protecting also the biodiversity will increase or encourage the ecotourism, entertainments and recreations. For example, we have Al Areen Wildlife Park. It is the place where the ecotourism, it is a good example for the ecotourism in Bahrain. Protecting the biodiversity will actually protect the plants which produce some perfumes, some medicines. In general, protecting the biodiversity will end up or will reflect it to the human health at the end. Protecting the biodiversity is not a mandate of the government sectors alone. It is a mandate of all people here. We have the environment actually reflected to all people in Bahrain. So all of us could work together in protecting the animals and bears and plants. If we are working together, we will become stronger.